I have one flashbulb memory from early childhood. This is the only one unrelated to my parents' divorce. The other foggy images and sounds are of screaming, of McDonald's kids' meals, and of the bright white walls of temporary housing. In this memory, I'm dancing, well, mostly just spinning around and leaping as my childhood neighbor plays the piano. I'm performing. I like the way I feel. The room is full of dusty, white-closed circular tables like the ones you see in big mess halls. The people watching me are all older than me, like a lot older. They're all elderly. My friend's mom is in the corner of the room smiling at us as we perform. I feel good. I serve cake to an older lady with cold hands, and then I leave. I felt really different growing up. My parents' divorce affected my performance at school, so I lashed out a lot. I avoided organized activities like Girl Scouts and church programs because it made me feel bad about myself. I always felt like the other parents could tell my home life was different from theirs, so I grew up to be a bully. 5 years later, my mom tells me that she signed me up to participate in a week-long volunteer trip with the same church I had avoided all my childhood. She didn't explain where I would be going, why I would be going there, or who I was going to meet. Our church group arrives in 6 Cadillac Escalades to a town in the Rust Belt of Middle America. I'm not religious. I don't necessarily think praying to God is going to solve the real structural issues that this community faces, and I'm put off by the overly enthusiastic nature of the volunteers. The following year, my mom makes me attend the next trip to Jamaica, Queens, and New York. I'm assigned to spend time with the elderly residents in an assisted living facility. These people, largely elderly working class New Yorkers from all over the world, Italy, the Philippines, Ethiopia, tell me stories from struggling to make ends meet in Brooklyn to funny stories from childhood in another country. After each workday, I return to our host site in a church basement in Queens, and I'm told to pray and sing songs about Jesus. I'm grossed out by the volunteers' abilities to compartmentalize the struggles that the local people are forced to face that don't end when the day is over. I am also, however, quietly grateful for the chance to meet the people I work with and to hear the stories that I am told. I'm just beginning to come into my own political conscience when Donald Trump is elected president. My older sister brings me along to a local meeting of the Democratic Socialists of America. I feel invigorated by the people I'm learning from. These people at the meetings are the same people who protested the Vietnam War, who slept on the cold cement of Wall Street, who blocked highways with Black Lives Matter, and who lost their jobs in the 2008 financial crisis. I graduate from high school and begin organizing around environmental issues, drawing on my experiences in post-industrial Arkansas, the forgotten coal country of West Virginia, and chemical spill sites in upstate New York. The summer after my sophomore year of university, 2 friends and I organize a fundraiser for Raíces, the pro bono immigrant legal service provider in Texas. Later that year, I participate in a study abroad trip to the U.S. southern border. I learn from social service providers, law firms, and other humanitarian organizations about the ways in which the U.S. immigration system is under-resourced, mismanaged, and dehumanizing. I return to the States and start working with various organizations. Throughout my 3 past years in university, the Community Engagement Scholars Program has brought me closer to people who also view themselves as a small piece of a greater whole. These people take accountability for the structures they cannot accept and the status quos that they seek to challenge. This program has empowered me to take advantage of my natural abilities and has emboldened me to reach further, work harder, and question deeper. I think back now to that very first experience in the assisted living facility. I see a little girl confused as she's pulled in different directions by people with good intentions. It wasn't God or the sing-songy young adults with an acoustic guitar who redirected me. It was the everyday people, by simply living their own truth, who welcomed me with honesty and vigor into a complicated world. It was the people who opened their doors to those who have traveled thousands of miles in search of a safer and more satisfying life. It was the women who organized and created economic opportunities for each other in the border towns of Mexico. It was the housewives of upstate New York who fought corporate giants in their fight for environmental justice. It was the Dakota families who logged firewood for their elderly neighbors. It was the kids in West Virginia who tried to make sense of the fights at home between their parents as coal mining jobs were outsourced. Threading these experiences together, I see one constant, that at the end of the day, people want to not just survive, but enjoy life. It's capitalism, racism, sexism, and bigotry that keep that as a privilege for the global few. Surrounding myself with people from all different walks of life, united under that one understanding that people shouldn't have to struggle or prove themselves to be worthy of respect and of a life well lived, is how I found my community, and in turn, is how I found myself.